I'm Patrick.
This is Will.
And I'm Chris, and we are Guys with Issues.
Just so many.
So many issues.
So many
I
issues.
have a lot of issues in my house right
Not
now.
enough time.
And today, we're talking about Constantine,
Yes.
Hellblazer. But before that, random baloney
Yeah.
that Will's going to tell us about genetic friendships.
So, yeah.
Baloney.
Okay, no. So you're saying, your claim,
Yeah.
welcome to this discussion that we were having before we went live,
Right.
while we were recording, but we felt this was so important that we wanted to share it with our listeners. So, Will, go ahead and tell us why
Yes.
everybody who is good friends is related.
So, yes.
I don't know if important is the word I use, but go on.
So many words. But
So many words.
I read a long time ago that people who stay friends for long extended periods of time are in the same gene class with each other.
Jean Grey's
I don't
class.
know what
Yeah.
a gene class is.
I don't remember what the word they
I'm a
used. It's how I
Double
describe it as a
helix
nerd.
inversion.
I'm just seeing DNA strands sitting in desks.
Yeah.
That's what he's
so,
talking about. He's saying our
learning.
DNA is more like the
Yeah, so
DNA of your neighbor who's not like us.
I mean, have you met his neighbor?
I saw them earlier, and I was like,
He
that
rides a
guy's not like
tractor.
us.
Which neighbor are we talking?
Over there. We're
Okay,
pointing.
I've never seen that neighbor.
I saw them
we
earlier
saw.
today.
Yeah.
They were out mowing when we first came in.
Never seen that neighbor.
Old red tractor.
I've
let's
seen
just
that
say.
neighbor with the old red tractor.
Well, you have two old red tractor neighbors?
Maybe. And then
talking about
I've
across
talked
the
to that
street?
neighbor. Yeah.
The big house neighbor
Yeah.
over here. Big
He's
house
talked to
being
me a
the
few
prison
times.
warden.
He's a good guy.
Wow.
But I've never met any of my other neighbors.
It's okay. I've lived at my house for 4 years now. I've only ever met Glenn, who lives across the street. Everybody else, total ghost. At one
Even
point,
though you have somebody that practically shares a driveway with you.
yeah, practically.
I mean, it sounds perfect to me.
You mean not being bothered by anybody?
Correct.
That is your ideal.
It really
Okay,
is.
so the
That's why you
problem with
work
Glenn,
in IT.
anyway,
the
'Cause you
problem,
get
the
bothered all
problem,
day.
the problem with Glenn is that he's one of those guys that's retired, and so he spends all his time in his yard, and so it's immaculate. Around
So
all
it
of
makes
his.
your yard look like garbage.
I mean, I don't need help making my yard look like garbage. I do that plenty fine on my own.
Are
thank
you saying you and Glenn are not genetically related to
you.
friends?
Not even close, bruh.
So
So
what
how-
you're saying is people that are friends become so much alike that their genes change.
Yeah, we're basically brothers now.
or is it the fact that we're I don't know, 9/10 bacteria,
Yeah.
and we
Microscopic
just start
bacteria.
sharing more bacteria and becoming more like that way?
I mean,
Every time
I
I
guess.
touch you, I leave a little bit of myself behind.
That's not creepy at all.
it's called a fingerprint.
Skin cell. Dusty. Other than that, Pat got a new butt shovel.
I got
He got a new monitor.
technically, it's a ghost butt shovel.
It
Yeah.
did come from a ghost. It came from a ghost's butt.
Right, ghost's butt shovel.
But now it's yours. So it's your official ghost butt shovel.
Right, it's
But
my
not to
G
but to
B-
be very
S.
it's definitely BS, but
Butt shovel is what BS stands for, everybody.
From this moment onward,
that's a bunch of BS.
A whole lot of butt shovels right there, boys. Maybe that's what our rating system should be. How many butt shovels?
no.
Anyway, but not to be confused with a shovel that's used on ghost butts, because if you hear ghost butt shovel, it makes you think that you're using a shovel for ghost butts.
Well, I mean, people don't say dirt shovel.
Somebody might say a garden trowel.
Well,
instead of just
sure,
a
but that's
trowel.
technically a different.
It's a different tool, but it's a tool. Like me.
I wouldn't say that.
Thanks, I appreciate that. But you got a new monitor that's
I got a
really,
new
really
monitor.
cool.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
It's not one of them fancy OLED monitors that are like $1,000.
Yeah, but for your 230 or whatever, it's
Right.
awesome.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
HDR, 120 hertz, 1440p.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's
and
great.
for all of you who know nothing about those numbers, it just means it looks really nice.
Yes.
It's really nice.
Crisp picture quality, people.
Yeah.
That's what we're all about.
Smooth like butter.
CPQ.
CPQ.
BS. Anyway, I hope you're all enjoying this riveting wit that we have this
I
time.
don't know what's going on today.
What's funny is only one of us has actually been drinking, but I bet you can't actually figure out who.
Two of you have been drinking.
Well,
And I said of you,
Pat's
which
been
means
phoning
it's
it in.
not been me.
I mean,
Pat's phoned it in.
Spoilers. I ate
Somebody's committed.
Somebody's committed. He's going to need committed. But,
Shovels.
you know, I edit out so many times when I say but as like an interim phrase. I
Yeah.
edit so many of those out. It's stupid.
He
how
takes
many-
out a lot of butts.
This episode is ruined. Or-
This is probably the episode that will never see the day of light. We'll put in the fabled episode will be in before anybody hears
the episode from hell.
this
Because it's
episode.
Hellblazer. Episode
that's
from
not true.
Yeah.
No, the fabled episode will stay fabled for a long time. This podcast would have to grow pretty substantially to warrant getting that released.
Especially since we haven't technically released anything yet.
We're almost there, guys. And for those of you listening and who are like confused, you're in the future, okay?
Things have already been resolved.
You're-
Speaking of resolving things, I meant to
You
bring
are
this
the
up.
people that we hoped we would have in our lives.
If you're currently listening to this podcast, you are in the future.
That's true. This is like a time capsule.
Mind blown.
Yep.
By the way, did either of you watch the Dune Part 2 trailer this week?
If I know I'm going to watch something, I don't watch trailers of it.
So
Have you
I'm
never
gonna,
read Dune?
I'm gonna disappoint you guys.
I have not read Dune.
I've read
Oh.
like the first half of Dune.
And then
I
you
had
watch
to.
the first half of the
I haven't watched any of the movies. I know you said it was
Oh,
super good.
It
but
is
the
really
new one-
good. The first one was really good.
Well, the director can't make a bad movie.
That's not true.
He made Sicario. He made Blade Runner 2049.
I'm
he
sure.
made Arrival. He made...
I'm sure the
Dune Part
director
1.
works really hard to make sure he doesn't make bad movies.
He is one of the greatest modern day directors, period.
Taika Waititi.
Full stop.
Denis Villeneuve.
I wish you guys could have seen the look on Christopher's face as I said those words.
I like
The
some
sheer-
of Taika Waititi's films, and I do not endorse the lifestyle he leads.
Oh, does he? I let's just
From what so this could be
I know
rumors. So all
nothing
of you
about the
Taika
man.
Waititi fans, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. You can call me out through an email, and
in the future.
but no, I've heard that Taika Waititi does tons and tons of coke on set.
Oh, that makes him a good director though.
That's
Like
clearly,
Stephen King wrote Cujo while he was on coke. Doesn't remember any of it.
Stephen King has a really interesting literary process where he doesn't actually know what's going to happen in the story 3
Yeah.
pages from where he's at,
I read that.
which is why his editor is so valuable and why
Mm-hmm.
he has so many plot holes
Yep,
because he doesn't do any planning.
Man, I could do that.
Even
No,
Stephen
really,
King
like-
doesn't know how Rose Red is going to end.
Now, when I say I can do that, I just mean I don't have any planning. I didn't mean I could write a book.
It's a task.
So let's see. This week, in the last 2 weeks, I've listened to almost 70 hours of book.
Whoa, that's pretty
All
good.
from
Pat.
that series from your book club that inspired this comic book club.
Yes.
Nice.
So Pat, do you use Audible?
Yes.
We got to compare listening times. All of us.
All of us right now.
I don't use Audible.
Well, then you are in the last.
I use Libby.
I'm sorry. Then Pat and I are in a duel.
How do you look at?
I have no idea. He's going to have to tell me. Probably
if
in
you
the profile. You might be winning. I don't know. I have 110 titles.
Listening history? No.
Listening time. That's
No,
time
if you-
spent
yeah,
listening
yeah.
today.
Listening
Let's-
time, but you go at the top.
total.
Total.
Okay. What do you
Okay.
got?
I bet you're going to beat me. But I have 1 month, 17 hours, and 44 minutes.
Wow. I have 1 month, 24 days, 3 hours, and 19 minutes.
Oh, I'm going to have to beef it up, ladies and gents.
What are you doing? Profile?
So if you go to, click
Yeah,
profile.
so you go to your profile and then listening time.
Oh, this
And then
is
at the
great.
top, there's like a total.
Okay. Are you ready?
Hit me.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Is it total?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a total.
3 months, 8 days, 15 hours.
Oh.
3 minutes.
You kicked our butts.
The only reason for that is because my daughter used to play audiobooks for my Audible on the Echo while she would sleep at night.
What?
Boom!
So you cheated. All right.
So
I cheated? No.
Your daughter did.
So this is a familial. Chris represents his family listening time. You and I represent individual.
That's true.
Most of my audiobooks are listened to on a different app anyway. I wish I could see how much time I did on that. That'd be cool. All I can do...
So is that app the one where it's like through
you
the
have
library?
to have a library card.
Yeah.
Yes.
My sister, not the oldest one,
Man, I
but
need
the
to
one
get my library card.
she uses that app to read books because I think there's ebooks.
Yep, you can get ebooks.
Yeah. She recommends that one all the time. So
It's awesome because it saves you tons and tons of money. I checked
That's what
out
she
like
says.
100 books last year.
Yeah.
Audiobooks. It's pretty awesome.
I
I
have
always check.
110 books total on my account.
I don't know how many.
I think that's more than me.
It says very
You
at
want
the
to
top.
talk about how many comic books we have?
Oh, okay. So
No.
Chris is gonna win this one because he
wanna
stole
compete.
a lot of them.
Whoa, do not. I did not.
Just to bring up a previous conversation
Wow.
we've had. Folks.
No.
Folks.
Stop it.
Folks.
I have not stolen any.
He is
And
not.
Owen, if you're listening, all of your comics are safe. Don't listen to these people. They're all going to be sold, and I'm only keeping the ones that you said I can pull out as part of my commission, okay? That's how it is.
I guess now we can talk about it since he just
No.
laid it on the table.
No.
Yeah. So
That was my only thing. And Owen did ask. So I don't know if I should say this. I want to. It'll make him laugh. I hope you're listening. But I was giving him a hard time earlier this week because I was like, dude, why are your comics not sorted better, man? And I got to some boxes that he had sorted really well. And I was like, there we go. That makes me feel better. It looked like he had started folding them in from the collection he had bought from me years ago. And I was like, okay, there we go. But then I like pull a box and I'm like, none of these are in order. It's just random. And granted, he was getting them when he was still in the military and he was subscribed to things and he wasn't, and he's moved a few times. And so he never took the time to like organize everything. Because like a good comic collector, he never bothered to read many of his comics. That's a criteria. You buy them because you're like, that sounds awesome. But then you don't read them. It's like board
it's like-
gamers.
It's
I
like
do that.
everything. It's like
It's like your Steam
Steam
library.
libraries, board
We're
games,
not talking about my Steam library.
or to talk about
RPG books.
the elephant in the room.
My Steam library?
Oh,
That and your RPG book collection.
My Steam library is worse.
So, genetic friends. We're going to have to do some research on that one.
This is
should
the first
all-
I've heard of it, but
I read that.
I'm not an expert in any means.
I read it a long time ago.
Did you know? I didn't know this. You know how people
Probably
talk
not.
about the science behind bumblebees? And for years they were like, bumblebees, it's like like they should be impossible to fly. Like flight should be impossible for bumblebees. But in 2005, it turns out that a Chinese scientist actually proved why they can fly. Like he did liquid dynamics and built like a full range model and put it in a big vat and watched. And bumblebees create like mini hurricanes above them with each flap of the wing that changes the air pressure that allows them to rise.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, so I'm going to show Will the number of... I don't want to say it on the podcast. I'm going to show Will the number of games I have.
Are you ashamed?
Yes.
Don't be Pat.
He has to be Pat. He can be no one but Pat.
Holy cow.
I've never seen the number. Can I see the number? I've never seen the true number. We just joke about it.
Sure, you can see the number.
Wow.
I don't think I've
That's only
even
a couple.
looked at that many games, let alone have downloaded or purchased.
Now,
I have-
to be
Okay,
fair,
hold on. I'm going to let the listeners know I've definitely looked at more games than that. So it's not that outrageous. But I want to know, and you can lay them out on the table. What do you think? Not a number, not a specific number, percentage-wise. Even if you only played it once, how many? Like, what percent do you think you've actually played?
Opened.
Probably between 1% to 5%.
No, no,
What? There's no way.
no.
The problem is,
At least probably 10 to 20.
maybe. The problem is, I had Humble Bundle for a while.
Oh, so
And
you
I
were
kept
just getting
adding a bunch of
tons
games like
stuff.
that. Yeah.
So that's what you're saying is like you kept getting a bunch that you never bothered to even touch.
Yes.
Dude, no, I'm going to say it has to be,
There's got to be a way to find
it's
out.
got to be at least 5 to 10%. At least.
By playtime.
I mean,
Now
I
let's
know
do math.
I've played
that's not gonna
many more than 10% of that over the years. I've played more than 10% of your library total-wise.
Well, I mean, that's just on Steam. If we're talking total games I've played,
Well, no, I meant the library.
I don't know.
El
Maybe.
Biblioteca.
It might be 10% or so. Maybe 10 to 20.
Okay.
I figured 10 to 20. 10 to 20. I would be surprised if it was more.
I don't know. I'm
less.
sure I could figure it out.
Be heck surprised if it was less.
Because 20 goes into the digits, right?
Chris is a face musician.
Face musician. So we have a butt shovel and a face musician. That is some group. What are you, Will?
So which of you is the hero and which is the sidekick? Is Butt Shovel the hero and Face Musician the sidekick?
Can somebody named Butt Shovel be a hero? Like the
So,
the main.
They have the Tick. Have you ever watched the Tick?
The Tick
Like
is one
the
of my
cartoons.
favorite characters.
I watched the cartoon growing up. It probably had more of an impact on me than my parents would probably be proud of.
I mean, I know all about yelling spoon and
yeah, Spoon. We got to read an episode of the Tick
Yes, we do.
that wouldn't be hard. The whole
next
series
week
is short.
with Guys with Issues.
No.
Next
We
week
are not reading.
is not going to be that. Next week is part 2 of Nightfall.
Right.
Yeah.
You'll have to listen to find out what we think.
Yeah.
Boy, that's hard not to talk about. It's hard to not give spoilers. So that's one of the things, without talking about the series that we're referring to, because it's something else. You'll find out soon. It is. Do you guys agree that doing this podcast, it's been super fun so far, right?
Oh, great. Yeah, I've been enjoying it immensely.
But
That's why we keep doing it.
it's stinky. It's a little stinky to be reading it, and you might think, man, that was cool. Or like, and
yeah.
the other two of us are like reading it too. And you're like, man, I want to talk about this right now. And then you're like, I have to wait a couple of weeks because we record bi-weekly. Usually. Not always, but usually.
Like tonight we went out to dinner.
I know.
I started
and you
talking
started
about it.
talking about this
And then
episode, your
I got-
opinion, and
I
we
got-
said, shut up!
I got chided a little bit.
Oh, big time. We literally
was
looked
just
at
like-
him and said, if you say that one more time, we're going to take your beer and turn the butt shovel on you.
Okay, look, the butt shovel wasn't a thing at that time.
It hadn't
That's
been
true.
invented. Folk, it was hours ago when we invented the butt shovel.
Did we invent it or did a pirate lord?
I don't know what that was.
A pirate lord's butt shovel.
That sounds
That's
like a
getting
metaphor
too-
for something.
This is getting.
And I
too-
don't mean like something inappropriate. I just mean in general. Like, you know how somebody's like, worth their weight in gold to be like, well, that's worth a pirate lord's butt shovel.
That needs to be a shirt.
That's worth a pirate lord's butt shovel.
Or a clip. We clip that and put that into the soundboard. And so we clip it and we push a button. That's worth a pirate lord's butt shovel? Yeah.
Yes, I agree. 100%.
Okay.
How many pirate lords butt shovels do we give this comic?
We're not doing that, Will. Now, tonight I have a feeling we're going to say packs of smokes. Is that?
Ooh.
How many-
Wow. Straight to the point.
Oof.
Anyway,
I figured we might as well start to transition, right?
Right.
I mean,
Towards
what we mean to
our
talk
topic.
about.
Towards our topic.
Are we talking about the comic book now?
We're trying to transition, but I don't have a good one.
Okay,
You listen
solid
to that
segue.
little voice. Stop it. Don't touch that button.
Which
You don't
one?
know which one it is.
They have no idea what we're talking about.
He's- Nope, wrong button. Stop. Stop pushing buttons.
Man, I can't
That
hear
was
anything.
really low. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, it's
whatever.
probably volumed down.
Is it
I'm sorry, everybody. I try to do something, but
to lighten the mood?
To lighten
Yeah.
it.
I mean,
You know, this is probably the most somber comic book that we've talked about
It really
yet.
was.
And this is the goofiest intro we've ever had. This is a great juxtaposition to the content we're about to talk about. So we've tried to bring everyone's spirits really high up.
Right.
just to
Even,
crash them.
Just to,
Just to
just to
hit
send
that
you-
brick
just
wall.
to be like, you know what? We're talking about cancer tonight.
Yeah, the
We're
one-
talking about deals with the devil. That's right. We're talking about Hellblazer, Dangerous Habits, written by Garth Ennis.
Yeah, the one
Now
thing that's
that was a segue.
probably hit the most amount of people is having someone that they love make a deal with the devil, and then you just lose them.
I literally
Yeah, unless you do
Or-
it right.
Yeah.
We'll get into that
Which,
later.
yeah, we're going to tell you about how to do it right, people. There's a way you can make deals with the devil and get away with it.
only in the lore of the DC universe where there are other entities involved.
So I
Yeah, you expected me to go a different direction with that one.
look. Okay. Spoiler alert. You should have read it first of all before you listen to this episode.
Yes.
And if you
Second
did,
of
we
all-
don't blame you. At least I don't. Pat probably did.
Oh, 100%. I blame you.
I don't believe it.
There you go.
Pat believes it.
No, if you didn't, I don't know why you're listening to this because there's spoilers galore. But
Because
hey,
some people
I'm
just
happy
wanna
you
hear.
are listening.
Yeah. You know what? I don't watch all the movies that the call guys watch, but I sure do like to listen to those goobers.
Well,
And one day
I
they're
try
going
not
to be
to.
There we go.
guests. What?
So there we go.
So
so anyway,
we read. Oh, Pat's
what
gonna
I
say
couldn't understand was in all of the years
Okay.
that these entities have been alive,
Yep.
how has nobody else thought of this?
I know, right?
Because
I
they
literally
weren't
That is like the
Constantine.
easiest thing to think of.
Or
That was actually.
not. Maybe not everybody knows about all three of them. I know I didn't.
Well, you're also not in that world.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Some of them were like obscure, but he deals in the arcane.
Right. And he can't be the only one. I'm just saying.
And by he, we mean John Constantine.
We're talking
just as a
Not
reminder.
Will.
We're talking
Not me.
thousands of we're talking about Will. We're talking thousands of years here.
What? I've never dealt with the devil.
I know, not
I
you.
sure hope not. Or we're having
The way
a
he's-
talk after this.
The way he's looking at me is I'm not so sure. No.
He's like, I've met some pretty devilish individuals, those fiends.
I mean, I've had a few deviled eggs.
I love deviled eggs.
That tears it.
My mom does some good ones.
Can't listen to a word he says now. He's had deviled eggs.
Yep.
He's man possessed by eggs. Eggs that have mayo.
That is just rather foul,
mustard.
if you ask me.
Oh, came out of fowls' butts. I bet they picked him up with a shovel. Anyway, so
Anyway,
Stop.
Listen.
Going back to.
I'm trying.
before we jump to the synopsis, I feel like Will's prepping.
I
You
was
prepping?
trying to keep us
Okay.
on.
Here's the
Thank
thing.
you, Will.
Garth Ennis wrote this. Okay,
Who?
Garth Ennis.
Okay.
That is not what I heard.
I heard Garthinus.
That's what I heard. Garthinus, which sounds Star
Garth?
Wars to me.
I'm so glad you and I are on the same page, Pat. Thank you.
Same page, Pat. That's what we call him around here.
Yep.
Same page, Pat. Which book are we in? Same page, Pat. So, Garth Ennis is pretty famous right now, in my opinion. He's done a lot of stuff that got popular. He's known for The Boys, which is big on Amazon right now.
Oh, huge.
He wrote that.
Huge.
Comics definitely take what you think is gratuitous from the show and amp it up quite a bit. They had to tone it down. So if you think that show's kind of amped already, just be prepared. If you think, man, that's a comic I want to read, that show's pretty sweet.
Be prepared.
Yeah, there's some stuff.
It
He also
gets-
worked on Preacher. Preacher was on AMC. I don't know if
Oh,
it still
yeah.
is, but he wrote Preacher as
Maybe.
well. And a series that Pat really digs, and we're going to eventually read some on here, Punisher Max.
Ooh, I
So-
do like those.
So Garth Ennis
He's also
writes
known,
some hardcore stuff.
He's also known for being on the Imperial Council.
Yes.
Hey, Darth Garth.
Darth Garth.
Darth Garth.
Every time you said it, all I've heard was Garth Ennis. Instead of
Garth
Ennis.
Ennis. I could say
There's a
Enos,
pause
but
in
I'm
between.
pretty
There
sure.
is a pause.
There's a space.
I don't think it's pronounced Enos.
It's yeah.
Don't stop, Will. Saw your
I
mouth
held it.
twitch.
That was the filter. Okay, I still have one.
I'm impressed.
I still have one, people.
So, but anyway,
So anyway, listeners,
so he likes to write things that are a little crude, sometimes a lot of crude. He likes to write things that are a little controversial, push the envelope. Usually can get kind of gory, a little intense, but it's kind of his specialty. It's what he does.
But I feel like he toned it down for this one. But
I mean, there was
he
definitely
he hit some emotional levels, though. I would say.
Yeah, I mean, you do watch a dude like split open at one point.
Yeah.
So we need a synopsis.
Welcome to Synopsis Street with Will.
Synopsis Street.
Do.
Yes. Hang on.
I almost stop it.
I turned the knob the wrong way.
You are a knob.
Thank you. Honestly, that's a
I
joke
felt-
between me and my dad and a friend of ours. We'll be like, yeah, we did that, you knob.
See, I felt like I was channeling my inner Constantine.
I mean,
Right.
It was thematic to the show.
Anyway,
Okay, Will, before you jump in and give us the synopsis,
yep.
we did get more emails.
Thank you, by the way, for more emails.
Yeah, all
do.
from the same source right now. We got a few. And before we jump into that, I do want to say we have had some feedback, and I wanted to point out that we do put timestamps in the descriptions of each episode. So if you don't want to listen to all of our banter or whatever you want to call it in the beginning of our episodes, you can see when the real discussion starts. And for those of you who could care less about the real discussion and come for the banter, you can also see when you could probably turn it off. So
or at
that,
least how we're rating him.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you can jump to the end to know what we thought as well. I do timestamp the rating.
Correct.
I put in whatever thing kind of pops out, but rating and our beginning discussion is always in there. I note when Will gives us our synopsis. Man, you have me saying it wrong now.
Gotcha.
You did. It's because you do that on purpose. Also, we just wanted to make sure everybody knew that in the description, we also list the exact comic we read for the next episode. So if you want to read along and we don't always give the exact info at the end, always check the description and you will have the information that you need to be able to follow along with us. I wanted to mention that.
I believe you.
Ah, good, because it's the truth, and
It
you
is.
know that. And with no further ado,
Yes.
Will is
Yes,
ready. He's
yep,
ready.
I'm
He's ready.
He's going to read email
then
one.
Read email 1 from Heather, who's Pat's sister.
Yes.
Yes.
I still claim her.
Well, somebody has to.
Maybe not after this email, but
We'll see. So it says, I would like to lodge a complaint, mostly Chris, Pat and Will also. It is totally unfair that you would read my husband's email, then ask me why I hadn't not emailed you guys yet, and then you guys released multiple issues at once. Now, Christoph will always have issue 1, and I'm not going to be stuck. And I'm going to be stuck on issue 4 or something.
5.
No, it looks like it's going to be 5. Not cool, man. Seriously not cool. 4th place is way worse than 1st. I am too competitive for this kind of shenanigans.
She is too.
Yes.
Also, speaking of shenanigans, I forgot how you attempted to beat up my TV and Christmas tree while playing VR. Thanks for the reminder. Henceforth, I will be keeping a closer eye on you. But seriously, it is a fun podcast. You guys will be happy to know I've read the first 2 comics.
Awesome.
The Umbrella Academy was likely badly explained crib notes for the show. I still don't fully understand why Luther has such a punny head. Puny. I was hoping for a more in-depth explanation, but alas, I was disappointed. The turtles are better, but way more violent than I remember. I also distinctly remember Shredder being annoyingly alive. So what a twist. A year ago or so, I watched a documentary on Netflix called The Toys That Made Us, and they discussed the first turtle comic and some more in-depth info about TMNT. You all might like to see it. Keeping an eye out, Heather.
Wow. She did call me out, didn't she?
She did call you out.
Ooh, because I also, during Christoph's email, was like, yeah, Heather.
Yeah, you did.
And she is very competitive. She gets intense playing those board games, man.
But yes.
Whew.
And the reason we get along so well is I don't care.
I know,
if I
right? So
win.
it doesn't cause any
Right.
conflict ever.
You win. That's the point. You're like, oh, it's whatever. But I still win.
Oh.
No.
And then she also sent us the photos of Pat getting his hug from Doug Jones that he mentioned in issue 2
Right.
on his Star Trek cruise. And so those were cool to see.
Which was amazing.
If he decides that they're worth sharing, will casually release them on social media, but he may keep those to himself.
Well, I've already told Heather that she can, reply to the post.
Oh, cool. Okay.
With those pictures if she wants.
Nice. Well, we can officially post them.
Either way.
Yeah, there you go, Will. You
Yep.
have real photos.
You have permission.
And people will be like, that's Patrick. We won't say which one it is, so people that don't know Doug Jones, they won't know.
Right.
I'll do that. I'll post it. Be like, this is a picture of Pat and Doug Jones. It's up to you to figure out who's who.
There's a lot of people around us too, so
There are.
There are.
There are. You could tell. Busy cruise.
busy cruise. Yeah.
Busy cruise.
Yeah.
Okay, Pat. We're going to read another one from Heather.
Right. So she sent us
Her
another
third email.
Third email. She says, I feel like you should read some Archie comics and then watch some Riverdale. I can't say I can recommend the comics since I have only read a few as a kid. I also can't recommend Riverdale because I thought it was kind of lame. I feel like this would be an interesting historical counterpoint comparing the original comic to the modern day show. Your best email friend, Heather. P.S. I'm working towards being your top emailer.
There's no working.
There's
You are
no working.
definitely the top emailer.
You won.
You are leading by miles on this
Yeah.
one.
For now.
Come on,
Ooh,
Christoph.
Yeah.
Come on,
Who's
Christoph.
gonna,
You gotta-
gonna challenge Heather? Who's gonna send us an email for every issue that you go through with us?
I don't know.
You're welcome to try. Just know that we don't read them all, but we will read many, like we did today. And thanks, Heather. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather.
And thanks for the suggestion. That'll definitely go
You're
in the list.
Best.
Oh man, you hear that? The best emailer.
It's been. It's now set in stone because it's recorded.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Thanks.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
And now the synopsis.
Yep, here we go. So John Constantine, sarcastic sorcerer and cunning conman, sees himself finally caught in the one fight he never expected: terminal cancer. Out to find the means to beat his inner demon and say his final goodbyes, Dangerous Habits is a rain-soaked look at the man under the trench coat. Done.
Dangerous Habits is the name of the story arc.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
It
So,
is.
Will, you've already spoiled this. You mentioned it earlier.
Did I?
What? Did he has cancer?
Whoa.
Well, he makes deals with
was-
the devil.
It was in the synopsis.
That Will has cancer?
How did you know?
Will does not have cancer. For all of you out there that have dealt with people who struggle with cancer,
Actually, that's.
that's a real thing.
Yeah.
I wanted.
And we're not making
okay.
fun of it.
I wanted to point this
but-
out. What's
Please-
really, really weird about us talking about this topic, like John Constantine dying of lung cancer on Cinco de Mayo, is weird because 7 years ago
Sorry.
today,
I'm like, this is weird already.
7 years ago today, to this day, was my grandmother's funeral, and she died of cancer.
Oh, wow.
Oh. I have a
it
friend
was-
who recently was diagnosed with cancer.
It's rough.
Yes. Yes,
But
it is rough.
I just
It's very.
I had a.
I thought it
nephew
was so
that
weird.
diagnosed with cancer,
Really?
but he got better.
That's good. I
is.
am expecting my friend to get better.
What's weird is she had
I hope.
so many different kinds
Very
of
much.
cancer. Like, she started with like non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and then she went to remission, and for quite a few years she was fine. And then she got like breast cancer, and then it kind of like, what do they say, like metastasized to where like goes into your blood and it's kind of just like
Yep.
spreads
Yep.
around. And so that ended up in her lungs, and she got lung cancer. That's what really kind of did her in.
So
'Cause
this
you
was
can't-
like, oh man.
Yeah. I mean, she never smoked a day in her life. She never drank a drop of alcohol. She never did anything like that. She's,
It went through her blood system.
it went through her
bloodstream.
blood. So that's how she got to. It was just like a mass in her lungs that really kind of
So
did her in.
So while we may be goofy and joking around, cancer is no joke, and we
No.
understand that.
No.
And if you've dealt with that, or you have family that has, we know that it hurts.
Yeah.
We all have had people that have gone through it. It's a tough thing, and I think that the comic does a good job. See, that's the thing. We read a comic that we thought, well, you know, you think Constantine, it's a superhero thing. It's going to be an arcane superhero. You think like it's DC's Doctor Strange almost, but different. You know, like similar but different.
It's more like DC's.
I guess Doctor Strange would be more like
Dresden.
Zatanna. Yeah, I could see that.
Oh, yeah.
I could see that.
That was
But-
the vibe I got from it.
Yeah. But definitely captures what it's like for people who are going through it, though. It seems like to me.
I would
The
think
weight
so.
of it.
Right.
I know, right? We haven't gone through
We
it
don't- we
personally.
haven't gone through it.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that most of the comic had, it was like most of the panels were like rain strewn. The rain's like almost the whole time, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of captures the mood.
No, I don't know if I was just imagining things. I don't know what the art was like before or after this whole thing, but it almost seemed like the panels were washed out. Like
Yeah, they
like
that
it wasn't.
that
it was-
look.
like it was
It wasn't crisp.
right. That and it was just like it was more focused on him and what he was going through, and he was kind of the background was just doing its own thing.
Sometimes there was no
Yeah.
background. It
Yeah,
would literally
I mean,
just
yeah,
be him.
Like a
because it was
solid
just
color, yeah.
him inside of his head
oh yeah,
going through it. It was
Yeah, I
I
noticed that
really
too.
liked the artwork.
I thought it captured the theme. Is what it felt like. Normally, you know, we say what we thought, whether we liked it, didn't like it. We talk about like favorite scenes, favorite characters, all that stuff. So first off, do we want to say whether we liked it or not? We want to just jump in.
I liked it.
Yeah. I mean,
You
I
both
loved
liked it quite a bit.
Yeah.
Oh well, you loved it. This is like you loved it.
I guess I've lost at least 3 people in my family to cancer. 4 total have had it. One is still alive. He's a cousin of mine. But yeah, I don't know. It really kind of like resonated with me. I like the art. Like, I feel like the stakes to it, you know, like a good story, it makes you feel like there's something at stake to really like drive your emotional investment. You know, we've all had people that we know and love have cancer, and the way it's written and the way it's portrayed is accurate enough, it feels, to really kind of like connect to, you know?
Yes.
Yes. Good.
I agree.
Oh, thanks.
He looked really intense when he did it. He's actually looking
He
kind of
does.
sleepy.
And a little tired.
So you really enjoyed it as well, Pat.
I liked it. I liked the story. I liked how it was depicting a guy who figured he was going to die, who was wrapping up loose ends with all of his friends and everybody he knew, but he was also trying to figure out a way around it. But he didn't think any of that would work. So he
Well, I
was
mean, he
leaving
even
notes.
tried
He
several
was-
different ways.
He did. So he was trying to wrap up his life while being in pain, while coughing up horrible stuff, and just an interesting human story
Yeah.
with a little bit of occult thrown in.
Yes, it definitely was. And one of the reasons that it was on our must-read list was when I did some research, one of you had mentioned Constantine before, and this was on our spreadsheet that I always reference if we bring up a hero. And like if one of you say, hey, we haven't done this guy yet or that person, I usually cross-reference the spreadsheet, see if we've thrown something on there. And this was the one that was on there for Constantine because it is considered by many, while it's not one of his more traditional stories, it captures who he is as a person very strongly and the kind of character he is. And so a lot of people consider it one of the best works for seeing the man, Constantine. It also claimed that it was inspiration for the film, but I haven't seen the film. And from what I've seen of it, like scenes, it didn't really look like it's the same idea.
I haven't watched it either. Maybe that's what we should have like a viewing party of it.
I've seen the film, and until you said that, I would not have. I mean, I can see there are parts of it, but not loosely based is what I would say.
Well, I mean, so
Like
basically,
extremely
it probably
loosely based.
inspired
Yeah, that's
whoever
about
wrote
it.
it.
Right.
Basically, they were like, "Oh, this character, crafty, tricking the devil, like kind of thing." No,
Which is what happens.
is
twice.
it? Oh, I thought you meant in the movie.
I don't remember that. It has been a while.
I
I've
have
slept since
never
then.
seen it, but Keanu Reeves says it's one of his favorite movies he's ever done.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think people that have really like Constantine as the comic book and all that don't like the movie.
Did either of you ever watch was it on the CW, Constantine? There was a show.
No.
I did not.
Our friend Nick loved it. Said it was very good. Sorry, we have a few. Chimps.
Oh, okay.
He really-
Comic book shop, Nick.
Yes. He really enjoyed the show Constantine. He said he thought it really did the character well. I think I saw an episode or two before, but I didn't watch a lot of it.
I've seen a clip.
The guy looks like he walked off the pages.
That's
though.
what I was gonna say. I've seen a clip of the show,
Yeah.
and the guy, when I was reading it, I used that same accent inside my brain when I was reading.
That is how he sounds.
And
traditionally.
I want to say the writing does a good job of that. Like, I never broke. You know, that was kind of weird that the way it was written. I kind of just used that accent for everybody.
Okay. Like British?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm like,
So-
what is it about that? Like, they definitely captured the style of writing that kind of lent to how British / Irish people speak.
Yes.
Because Constantine is Irish, but he lived in Britain. Is that what I'm? Or maybe he's English. I don't.
You want
I
to
don't
Google it, Pat, so we can
Sure,
make
I
sure
can
people
Google it.
don't get upset?
Yes.
Oh, people are going to get upset.
I know. We have a friend that would definitely be offended being British if he was called Irish.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about.
So, I have to
Because-
admit,
Yeah.
it was okay for me.
Was it?
So, I thought it was well written. I thought the art style nailed the vibe. I do not gravitate towards stories that tend to be more mystical or occult. Like, that's just a personal thing. Sometimes I can enjoy them. Sometimes they just don't hit right for me. I thought the plot and the writing was pretty brilliant. I thought it was very well done. It just wasn't like my type of thing.
He's from Liverpool.
Okay.
Oh,
there you
so
go.
he's English.
He's stationed in London.
Boom.
So I'm sorry.
Liverpool Judy's.
I'm sorry the Irish. I'm sorry the British. I didn't mean to get you mixed up.
But no, I didn't it's not that I thought it was bad. It just wasn't my type of character or story. And I've always felt that about Constantine. He doesn't resonate with me. Like just as a character, I feel like this was the most relatable type of story to have with him because it's not a difficulty everybody's probably been touched by in some form or another.
Right.
And I enjoyed the story and his journey of dealing with it and trying to find ways out. And I liked his friend. I read it weeks ago.
The guy on
What was
the
his
board.
name?
Brendan?
The
Or
guy in
Chaz?
the
guy
guy
in
in the hospital.
The cancer
Oh,
ward.
Matt.
Matt.
Matt. Yeah.
That
was
was
good.
great. And the ending
Yeah.
was horrific.
So dumb.
So you didn't like that, huh?
No,
So
that
before
was-
we get to that, hold on. We'll keep on track slightly with our normal format. But yeah, it's not. I thought it was well done. I understand why it's kind of acclaimed by people. I still think it does capture the difficulty that people go through. I thought the secondary characters could be pretty interesting sometimes without even knowing who they were. Just how he'd kind of like be trying to drudge up like past stuff to see what he could do. But it just, at the core, it's just not the kind of story setting that I typically read.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, him as a character, because he's kind of a shyster, right? Like
Yeah.
he's
That's why we love him.
that's why I don't. but
You know.
I understand why Constantine has fans, and I understand why Garth Ennis is acclaimed like for his part in the series, but it's not my thing. So
I just really want to say Roger right now.
Roger. but yeah, so I agree with you guys. Super well done. Still didn't really enjoy it for me.
I did want to. It did make me want to go back and read the series just because of
You know
the
what's-
whole ghost scene where he's sleeping
the
and
people-
he dreams that his
yeah.
friends are mad at him and all this other stuff as ghosts.
I too wondered if that would come up because I told him like the same thing.
He wants to go back and read
Like,
now
I
to
wanna-
see like what led up to all of it.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
did those people die like cursing his name or something? Or is it just him
Or are those
being
the ones he
retrospective and
Yeah.
thinking that they're not going to like him if
are
if
those
they ever
the,
see each other again?
My impression was that he did things to betray them or fail them.
That's what I was gonna say.
Right,
like,
but I
are
just-
those the ones he felt the most guilty about? Like,
Right. But
they weren't the ghosts that like were haunting him, but like he was.
But the question
haunting.
I have though is he the kind of person who was like, okay, because this happened, I feel guilty for it. Thus, this person's going to hate me, or does he know that that person hates him because of it?
The impression I had was the latter.
Well, sure,
So
that's what
you're-
it
but you wanna
seems
know.
like. But
You
I want
wanna
to
know.
know.
So what I hear, faithful listeners, is that Will and Pat are going to embark on a journey together to discover the origins of the pre-cancer Constantine, and one day they'll come back and tell you what the real reasons he was so hated were.
To be continued.
Pum, pum, pum. But no, for real, why don't you guys just read it sometime then?
We will.
Why not?
Eventually.
You could then, because it's not on the podcast, you could even text each other about it.
What?
I mean,
That'd be
Discord
weird.
message, whatever.
So, did you have a favorite scene?
I
In
think
this
my
one?
my favorite part was probably with like Brendan.
Which one was he?
He's the guy that lived in the tower, and
Oh.
he in his basement was this
Pool
sacred
of holy water.
pool of holy water, and his house was technically a shrine blessed
Yeah,
by
like it
Saint
was
Patrick.
like actual
You're welcome.
true magic holy water.
I thought of you when I read it. I was literally gonna make the joke, but I kind of forgot. Whatever the joke was.
I got it. Don't worry about it.
His name's Patrick. Everybody, Saint Pat. Da.
My mother.
Saint Pat.
My mother would always say while I was growing up that I'm special. I have 2 days in March
You get it.
Wow.
because I was born in March as well.
Yep.
I never believed her.
People are that much closer to stealing your identity. They have a name and approximate birth date.
I'm also
you like-
62 years old. You shouldn't have laughed at that.
got
They would have
that-
thought I was 62 years old.
Well,
Got
dude,
that
you haven't been that
Medicare.
young for years.
That's true.
That Medicare and Medicaid. What was it? Yeah.
You were saying you like the holy water drinking
I mean,
Guinness.
it kind of
Guinness drinking holy water.
Man, I'm
I wanna-
telling you.
I
that
wonder
would
what
be amazing.
I bet it would. I bet
Oh,
that
man.
Guinness would be
holy
delicious.
water Guinness, like, yeah,
They should market that. Guinness should be like, we're coming out with that.
the John Constantine Guinness.
As long as you're not Satan, take a drink.
That was a cool scene.
That was a cool
That
scene
whole
because
scene
he
was
was like,
cool.
hey.
It kind of it foreshadowed him being able to trick the devil, because it wasn't like Brendan kind of showed him that it was possible to create a condition upon which you can trick the devil.
Right.
And then he just kind of built upon like, oh, you have to wait until, like, if you don't claim my soul before midnight, then I go free.
No, at midnight.
Yeah, like that is the cutoff. If you can't do it by then. And so it was like he knew that condition. So that's why he called John Constantine, because he knew he wasn't smart enough to trick the devil. But he's like, after all the years he was friends with John Constantine, he was a con man, knew he was clever enough to trick the devil. So that's why at that exact moment in time, he brought him in, because there's one scene where he's like, oh, I called you. Like John finally is, after drinking so much holy Guinness, opens up and tells Brendan that, you know, he has the lung cancer, he's dying, all the cigarettes he smoked over the years is finally caught up with him. Brendan's like, starts laughing. He's like, oh, I've got liver failure because of all the alcohol I've been drinking. I was going to call you to save me. The truth is, John did save Brendan's soul. Like, he couldn't save his life,
Right.
but
But at the end of that,
yeah, Brendan's like, I'm clever enough to create a condition upon which I can escape the contract I made with the devil, but I'm not clever enough to actually enable it. I need to call the guy I've known
Right.
for years to be able to show up and actually complete the condition.
right.
thought
But
that
he also has a lot of regrets about that.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the whole thing, he blames himself. Constantine does, about that death, about how they. This is why I'm thinking that he might be overblowing what those people feel towards him. It was just stuff like that where he puts too much blame on himself.
Maybe. I know that he is somebody who will kind of do some little betrayals here and there if it helps him out.
Sure.
You see, I haven't read enough John Constantine to know. Like, like in this, it says
I don't know
that
if he's quite a Hondo Anaka, but
I don't know
Yeah.
what that is.
it's a space pirate in Star Wars.
Oh.
He's a rascal.
Roger,
My friends! He hangs out with Garth.
I was gonna say
No, it's
Pat.
Gar.
Garthenus.
Yeah, Thinnis would be his last name if it's Star Wars.
Garth.
His name would be Gar Thinnis. Because Garth Enos is not a Star Wars name.
It's pretty close.
So, yeah, that was probably my favorite scene as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Was it my favorite scene?
I don't know.
It was probably the most fun scene.
Oh yeah.
Like, it was fun. It was a fun scene watching him drink and
There sure weren't a lot of
carouse
those in
and
there.
Fun scenes?
Fun scenes.
Maybe that's why it's your favorite.
could be.
Like, it was the one scene of levity in the whole series, I think. Like that whole arc.
Right.
Not series, but the 6 issues or whatever. I mean, yeah, I definitely like that. Plus, I like Guinness. So I was like, oh, that's a great idea. And plus, watching him be like, share a drink with the devil. That guy was lame. That was like, it was a good moment. Like, it was funny. And
Right.
he was like, I'm going to pay for that one later. And then he meets up with like a demon. And he's like, can you pull any strings? And she's like, he is pissed.
Yeah. I mean, now that I kind of think about it, they do say that there's like the stages of grief you go to when you receive that kind of news. Kind of like looking back on it, I think they do capture that, because that would.
I
like,
wonder, I actually wanted to look him up at one point to see if it followed it.
Yeah, I didn't think about it until we just started talking about it, like
I
during
liked-
recording this.
I liked his meetings with Matt a lot.
But like in the beginning, he seemed kind of angry, and that's kind of like how they.
Well, like
They say-
denial.
Yeah, like, and then like
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah.
I guess anger is first. Hold on, let me look it
I
up.
don't know.
because there was
We're
the
talking
bargaining.
out our butts.
Yeah, we are, but that's how all podcasts.
Oh,
Are.
yeah, we're a podcast. Come on.
But basically,
Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. I don't think that was that order.
it's pretty close.
What was you?
I mean, he bargains definitely in the end.
Right, that's the end. That's the third stage in this.
I mean,
What's the fourth stage?
He did try to bargain.
Depressing.
Well, he was
completely
depressed
didn't-
even after he won.
Right,
his friend
and
died.
before he started acceptance, he kind of had that in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, like right before that climactic scene where he does do the bargaining, he does kind of say, "Okay, this is the night I am going to die. I'm going to call my sister and my niece." And
Yeah, it might have followed
He-
those stages.
he made good with the
I don't
taxi
know.
driver.
Who knows?
Chaz,
I'd have to reread it.
Made that guy feel bad.
but then paid him off.
That's why he made it feel bad.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's a good lesson, though, that money heals all wounds.
That's not a good lesson.
Just-
Who are you, and what have you done with Chris?
The devil?
no.
He's not wearing Prada.
Whoa. Ow. This is getting weird.
Strike Lowe's off the list. Strike Prada off the list.
Come on, that's a movie.
Who are we going
It
to
might
get to
have been a
sponsor
book.
us?
I don't know.
Well, talking about cancer and it coming from smoking, probably none of those companies either.
Yeah.
We're still holding out for St. Elmo's.
Big tobacco.
Are you kidding me? Raid Shadow Legends will sponsor us.
Raid's Shadow Legends would sponsor a potato. Get out of here.
I could totally see that. Be like a YouTube channel. All it is like potatoes being like microwaved or deep fried or baked. And all it is like a camera on it. And it'd be like, this video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, new champions from the shield bearing army.
If we ever get a sponsor, you are 100% doing the voice.
What if they don't like the way I do the voice? Maybe they want you to do
Well,
it.
too
Why
bad.
would they want me to do it? I'm the most level of all of us.
Maybe they want level.
Maybe it's a level company.
Okay.
Do you want to be on the level? Get pads.
Did you guys have a favorite character?
John Constantine?
Yeah.
The guy who likes Guinness, I don't remember his name.
Brendan?
That guy.
He just
It doesn't mean I was listening. I mean,
You heard it here first, folks. While we talk, Pat doesn't even listen.
I don't even listen.
I like how we keep referring to everybody listening as folks.
Folks.
The folks who listen.
Folks. It's because we're folk singers in our time off.
Yes.
65-year-old folk singers.
Yeah, we're real old. Favorite character?
Mine was Matt. I loved every scene with Matt. You said that was
Honestly,
the man who had cancer, correct?
Yeah, the one.
I enjoyed those scenes, even though
And,
some of them were sad.
Spoilers, he dies at the end
Yeah,
from bowel cancer.
it was horrific.
Yeah, that is horrific.
It was lit. And, you know, they really drive it home with how bad you feel about it because he's like, I just don't want to die like that. And it's exactly how he dies.
Right.
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 I liked Brendan? What was his name?
His wife was cool too. Or
She
his
was.
ex-wife.
The future love interest potential.
Right.
Oh my gosh, what was her name?
Just wait.
So I really like that just because it was like two old friends getting back together. Hadn't seen each
Yeah.
other in a while.
When they went to the diner. Was it a diner?
No, when they were drinking in the next to the pool.
Pool. Oh, Brendan.
Right.
I thought you meant when his
Brendan.
wife came back.
No. I
Ex-wife.
was still on my
Okay.
topic.
Yeah.
Yep, sorry.
Yep. Nope. You're fine. You're doing the right thing.
That's why I liked that character the most. Yeah, it was a camaraderie there.
Yeah, for sure.
Like of old friends. Have we figured out her name yet?
Kit? Was it Kit?
I think it was. That sounds
Kip?
familiar.
Kit? Kill? Kit? I think it was Kit.
I think it was Kit Cloud Kicker.
It could have been.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
it was.
Kit.
It
Good
was.
job.
It was Kit. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Good job, brain.
Wow.
So,
Any-
what's the next question, Mr. Podcast Leader?
Was there something you didn't like in it? Something specific?
I mean, everybody already knows my answer to this question, so I'll go last.
I mean, I think we all kind of have the same kind. The ending feels like he kind of glossed over it. It's like, I'm gonna trick the devils. I'm gonna enable the trick, but doesn't really say what the trick is. Like he sold his soul, but
Yeah, that's the trick.
That is the trick.
because it's the fact
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
they would destroy everything to fight over his soul.
Like
Once
none of
he's
them,
dead.
none of them. So for those of you who haven't read this, Constantine comes up with a devious plan where he makes a deal with each of these three evil entities, one being the devil, one being like some ancient, almost like eldritch horror or something,
I
and
mean,
one
it
of
seems
them's
like
like a
there's-
shadow.
Like
Like,
in this
but
world,
there's
there's actually
three.
like 3 devils.
There's like three main entities of eternal evil, and he basically tricks each one, does a little seance-y thing, says, "I'll give you my soul when I die," and then
Signs a contract.
signs a contract with each one, unbeknownst to the others, and then proceeds to commit suicide, so that they then show up, are like, "Why out of hell are you here?" And they're like, "Well, I'm here to collect his soul." And each one's like, "Baloney, I'm here to collect his soul." And then they're all like, "Well, we're going to fight about it, and it's going to be terrible. And then heaven's going to intervene, and then we're all going to get destroyed, and then things are going to get bad, and blah, 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 blah." So he basically tricks them because they can't agree to let one of them have him. So none of them can have him. And in the end of the day, he thinks his life will be okay, but really it's going to be tough.
Yep. You got to keep reading to find out how.
Yep, because this was issues 41 through 47 or something like that.
46.
46.
40.
And it runs over 300 issues. So
Yeah.
I don't think we said that.
No.
For those of you who wondered, the Hellblazer series started in 1988, and it ran for 300 issues and ended at 2013. Lots of comics.
Wow.
Lots of
There's a lot
comics.
of comics.
Pretty amazing, though. It doesn't happen very often. Ran for like 25 years.
Wow.
But yeah, no, I just cannot fathom that nobody else thought to do this.
To trick them, all three.
Yes.
Said,
Yeah.
"Okay, when I die." Maybe they were too afraid. Maybe Constantine was just like, "I don't give a crap."
I mean, he does say that. He's like,
At the
nobody,
end, he's like,
nobody would do this.
Well, yeah, at the end, he was like, I can't believe what I did because of the consequences of something.
So maybe
or
that's
another.
why. Maybe he's so foolhardy that he was the only one who had the brass tacks to put it down and do it.
Maybe.
And in the end of the day, he knows it would have been better to just die.
Right.
Or he'll live forever.
I mean, that's kind of what he set up, didn't he?
Yeah, kind of. He basically says, "Oh, man, they probably don't want me to die because it'll be a bad thing for them." But then they're like, "Yeah, but how bad can your life get otherwise?"
Well, then they were also saying eventually we'll figure this out and you're going to die anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I
the
mean, they
devil
could-
wants payback
They did
for
kind of
him having a
foreshadow
stinky
that.
Guinness.
That's right.
Yeah.
Did not sit well with him. Definitely a number 3. That's probably a number 4.
Right. I mean, they did kind of foreshadow, like, I don't know if it's a foreshadow, but the part where they say, like, or I think he says, you know, the second he makes a mistake, they're just going to capitalize and just completely take over.
Yep. So you not a big fan of the way it ended.
No. But then again, how would you end it other than?
Yeah, I mean, they kind of that was pretty much a one-way ticket moment. Only way to manage to do it.
I kind of kept expecting the snob to show back up because there's one part
The
where,
Archangel.
like, right after he goes and talks to a demon, that she's like, "Oh, maybe you should try the snob," and so he goes and talks to this guy who's an immortal. Turns out he's, you know, Archangel Gabriel on Earth, and throughout this entire thing, like, after he'd kind of ousted him for talking to this one guy who's kind of questionable, he says, "Oh, what would your father think?" Kind of kept expecting him to show back up, so maybe he does later on in the story.
Oh, I have no doubt that in those
Oh, I'm
300
sure.
issues, he's gonna be somewhere in them.
And
100%.
he says, you know, you're kind of right. I kind of need to show back up to make sure to keep you quiet.
Give him a good old slapping.
Yeah.
Just like you slap those bass strings.
Oh, I was thinking about the coasters.
Oh.
Do you remember when we slapped the coasters?
Yes.
Will's like, "Nope, I don't remember anything."
I don't.
So, did you have a least favorite character? I didn't say if I had a least favorite part, but I don't know if I liked it enough to have a least favorite part. I thought it was all kind of equal. My least favorite part was the fact that the app that I was reading it with wouldn't let me read more than like a page at a time without closing it and reopening it. and then going to the next page.
Right.
And then I had to read it on my PC, which also soured the experience since some of the pages get a little questionable when he's dealing with these monstrous evil entities, and I'm sitting in the living room trying to read on my PC and having to pay attention to whether or not my children are going to walk over.
That is true.
Right. Anyway, so
Least favorite
was
person. Do you have somebody you didn't like? I didn't like that nurse. Said she was mean.
Yeah, that is true.
No, I'm just kidding. She wasn't really in it. I'm joking.
I was like, I don't even remember this.
I'm just going to come out and say it. My least favorite character, the devil. You can't go wrong saying that every time. There's nobody I think I like less than the devil.
Frequently people's least favorite character.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one.
The other two guys, same thing. Not a fan.
Right.
Creepy shapeshifter man thing.
Right. The Band of Evil didn't like.
Definitely didn't like that guy.
Playing at Madison Square Gardens.
What are you thinking, Will? Same? You're trying to
Yeah,
pick
probably
somebody different.
Probably the
You're
same.
going to say Constantine? She's your least favorite.
Yeah, least favorite character and also most favorite
And
character.
most favorite.
I don't like the
character.
doctor that tried to capitalize on his demon blood.
Well, I don't know that he was trying to capitalize on it.
That's what Constantine thought.
Of course it was.
Paranoia.
Yeah.
He was just
that's-
like, this is really interesting. I would like to look more into this. But
You
he knew what it was going to
You
end
know
up
what?
being.
You speak like someone who likes science.
I mean, guilty as charged.
Dang it. You're being indicted.
I'm not pleading the fifth. Guilty.
You're like, no, straight up. Just
I
listen, my
like
son.
science.
And if I had some demon blood, gall darn it, I would try to process more of it too.
I don't know about that.
For science.
I'm just saying the doctor saw something interesting and wanted to look more into it. But Constantine was probably right. That's probably where it went. But,
Yeah, nosy scientists.
right, they're the worst.
Will,
Yes.
do you have an answer?
I don't. I'm
You liked everyone equally.
scratching my brain and I'm just like, who stood out as somebody I couldn't stand?
Probably the taxi driver.
You see, I didn't hate that. Like, I hated when he was, complaining.
Right.
But then, like, at the end,
Because people who complain are the worst. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah. And then he
Yeah.
got all that money.
Let's
and then
complain about him.
Yeah, and then he was
He
like,
got a bunch of money, and all of a sudden, he was just like a super nice guy.
Well, here's the thing. You don't know the whole backstory, though, with him and Constantine.
That's what I
either.
was saying.
So
Right.
I
Like,
think to
it's
judge
hard.
that, Will,
Yeah.
repeat after me. I think the worst character was the devil.
I think the worst character was the devil.
I mean, he is a pretty bad character.
I mean, he is a pretty bad character.
You
Oh,
have
sorry.
to repeat that.
Okay.
You got to repeat after him, not me.
Sorry, I got confused.
He's indoctrinated. No. Okay, so there you heard it here first. I stopped myself from saying folks.
Good.
We dislike the devil.
Yes, everybody at this table dislikes the devil.
So,
All three of them.
yes. No, for real. They were all gross and weird.
They were gross and weird. But I mean, they kind of have to be if they're
But the devil's the devil.
evil.
He's just
Yeah.
no good.
So, like, I guess the writer did do a good job because you're supposed to hate the devil. And so we do hate the devil. So does that make him a bad character or does it make him a good character?
I said, which one don't you like?
Yeah, but you're not supposed to like him.
Okay.
But you can
Success.
love
So-
to hate characters.
So is that what this is?
Hated to love.
I don't know if we ran into the devil enough
He's the devil.
in this story because there are different types of.
He was collecting souls and wanted to torture people. That's enough for me.
I mean, that's fair.
And he did
Also,
torture
for
John
those of
Constantine.
you who know any real life theology, that is not how the devil actually operates. Although I do think
Yes.
he'd probably show up kind of like he did at the tower. Like looking nice,
Right.
suited up,
I think so.
looking very proper. He's not going to look like some red horned goat man, okay? He's going to look like
Yeah.
somebody that you think, I should respect this guy. He's probably, he's going to come to you that way. That's going to be how it is. Great depiction.
Yeah. It's also kind of funny in that scene, they kind of hint that he's the devil's because he says, aren't you going to invite me in? Like, the
Is that a
devil-
thing
I think there's like folklore about it.
I know it.
for all of our folks out there?
Jiminy.
Is that where we create lore about the people who listen?
I think so.
Oh, man. Listener lore. Folklore. Here's our folklore. Folklore. Okay. So this pretty much wraps it up.
Pretty
right?
much.
There's not a whole lot more to talk about.
I don't think so.
It's a dreary trudge of the battle with cancer, finding out you're terminal, the depressing life that leads, the desire to make amends or find any way to get it better, and ultimately having to make deals with evil entities for your soul that can't take you because they're going to start a war over you.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
And then what's to come? Well, after you beat cancer, you get to go see your friend die.
Yeah.
Which I wondered if that was the first moment of them getting back at him.
I kept
Did you
expecting
think that too?
I
It's very
did.
possible, yeah.
I kept expecting them to like pop up in a puddle or something and be like, "Hey, you like that one?
Well,
More to come."
I don't think any of the puddles. I'm not
But then-
going to finish that sentence.
Here's the question: if John Constantine has hell in disorder, does that mean he's doing heaven's work? Like
Isn't that what he claimed to the snob? Is that like, technically I've helped you guys out some?
Yes.
He kind of says that.
he says that he owes him one.
Yeah.
That's not what. Like he didn't know he was going to do what he was going to do.
No.
at the time.
But I'm saying, like, technically it seems like he probably already has done
Yeah.
some stuff.
But he also says that there's no way that, Jesus Christ is ever going to
For pardon him?
pardon him. They're just going to laugh at him and send him on down to the old depths.
Well, now at this point, he has no option.
I mean, he's kind of locked in for the lore of the DC story universe.
Right. He's got another 260 some episodes. Issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for this, issue 5, it was the Hellblazer issue for us. But so 305, Hellblazer Part 2.
Yeah.
Wow, I couldn't even imagine making it to 305. Not that we couldn't, but that would be nuts. That's like 6 years.
That's nuts. No, that's wizard's chess.
Anyway,
Harry Potter references. What if there's a Harry Potter comic? Do you think everyone's ever made one? J.K. Rowling has definitely not made one.
Anyway,
Yeah, anyway.
fellas, out of what did we do in 5 packs of cigarettes? 5 pints of Holy Guinness.
How many holy...
5 pints of
Out of
Holy
how many pints of Holy Guinness? We missed doing this on something, I think. Maybe it's in the future.
Who knows?
But
who cares?
I care.
I'm sure our listeners will care. At least one of them.
All one of them.
All one of them. Well, there you go.
Thank you,
Nice.
listener.
Thank you, listener, for
Thank you,
tuning in,
folk.
folk.
So I guess I'll go first.
Yeah, how many holy pints of Guinness?
3.8.
Ooh, sipped off of one.
That's right. Well, no, I almost finished one.
Oh, so this is like empty glasses.
Right.
Ah, how many you drank?
Right.
I like
Oh,
that.
Okay.
Not served up, but drank.
Right.
I like that better.
Yeah.
Good thinking, Pat. Good thinking. 3.8, not quite a 4.
Not quite a 4.
So Pat would not recommend this to others.
Probably not.
Okay. I love that that's the standard now. If it's not a 5.
I enjoyed it.
Here's
Don't
the
get me
thing.
wrong, but
I believe that you probably will read one that you don't think is that great, but you're like, I'd recommend it to somebody if I thought they would like it.
lies.
Really? Oh, wow. You should have just said, don't believe. I don't believe you.
I don't believe you.
Well,
I think
dang
he's
it.
avoiding that phrase now.
I don't believe
point-
you.
Well, Pat does.
Maybe.
Yeah, when he's listening.
What?
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it.
Okay,
course.
Will. How many
Oh,
Guinness
man.
are you drinking in honor of Constantine?
It's hard to give me thing.
Because if
It's
you're
hard
gonna,
to give it a 5.
oh, I
would
thought you
give
were
it-
gonna say if it's about how many beers I'm drinking, it's a 5.
I mean, after today, it's just about.
So anyway,
I would give it like a 4.5. It's so close.
okay. You said you really enjoyed
I
it.
do, yeah.
And I'm gonna say, for me, if I was judging it just by quality, like capturing the journey of that and all of those things, I would rate it higher. But I'm rating strictly for me reading it personally. again, Constantine's never been a character. I've read stories with him in it, stories with him in them, but he's never been a constant.
A Constantine presence.
He has never been a character that I was overly interested in. And this story, like I said, just not the type of story. Like, I can enjoy like super down to earth personal stories. I can enjoy those things.
Yeah.
So you're saying
But-
there hasn't been a Constantine presence in your characters?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm going to say, I don't know. I'm between like a 2.5 and finishing it off for a 3. I didn't think it was bad.
Then I would finish
So
it off for a 3.
I'll do a 3. Something I wouldn't go back to. I didn't read an extra. I didn't go back before. I wondered some things, but I didn't enjoy it enough to drive it. Where even though, even with Umbrella Academy, I didn't really like that, but I still read on. But maybe that was because I'd also watched the show.
Yeah.
Just to see how it compared to some of the stuff that came in the show. But I would say this was definitely better than that. Even if my
it's
score,
much better.
even if my score wouldn't match that opinion, because I don't remember what I gave the other, I definitely think quality, this is better,
Oh, yeah.
hands down.
Well, we're not rating it the same. I think I don't remember what our rating system was.
We don't
But
have
just-
one.
just
Pat's
like-
is what I recommended. Yours
Yeah.
is unknown, and mine is did I enjoy it? How much did I enjoy reading this?
Yes.
So what is
Nobody-
yours, Will?
Well, mine is also did I enjoy reading it?
I know, but
Because I'm not going to recommend a comic book to somebody I didn't enjoy reading.
I know. That's true. I fully. There's a comic book I really like and would recommend to people, but it is not that enjoyable of a read. It's a bit of a trudge, but it's still one I would recommend. We'll read it eventually.
I would say I'm looking forward to it, but, I
But
don't know
not
that I
after
am.
that. No, it's a seminal piece of work. It's a piece
The
of work.
Bible? No.
That's a seminarial piece of work.
Oh, sorry, everybody.
Anyway,
They have Bible comic books. I mean,
I'm sure.
Yeah, they do. I had when I was a kid, my
they probably improved some by then,
Bible. Yeah.
I bet. But anyway,
I mean, he
So
is
we
like
had
65, right?
a 3.8, a 4.5, and a 3. We've just drank quite a bit of Guinness.
It's not actually true.
That would be a
Man.
good time.
But the thing is, if we were sitting down at a restaurant and I watched Chris drink 3 Guinnesses, I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, what happened to you?
So,
you don't drink that.
There was one time in PA, I think, where I had 2, and it was the last night we were there, and it was at the bidding of the people I was with. They were like, just get one more. And I'm like, I'm full. Guinness fills you up.
It really does.
And
It does.
And I don't think I could quite finish it. I think Gunner might have finished my second Guinness, I think.
Oh,
I
thank you,
can't
Gunner.
remember. Yeah, Gunner, if you remember, if you ended up downing it with Jesse and Caitlin, let me remember that. You remind me. But otherwise, you may have told me, oh, come on, man, you can finish it. And I might have. I don't remember. But I appreciate the support, whether it was towards me or finishing my beer. You're a great friend.
Yeah, thank you, Gunner, for all your support.
Yes, Gunner, you're amazing.
You are one of the reasons we're doing this. To be fair, I've been on podcasts because of him.
That's true.
And it kind of like gave me that taste, so I knew what this would be like. So it's
Yeah.
more gave some
Because-
back excitement.
He is on the Call Guys.
Who
He's
are
one of,
gonna
like,
be on here eventually.
Yeah.
Right.
And Colton's gonna try to talk about how bad DC is, so we're gonna make him read some. We're gonna have him come on because he hates DC, but he never reads comics.
That's just ridiculous.
Which Constantine was originally published by DC and moved to Vertigo Comics, which is also a subsidiary branch of DC.
Why did they do that?
Because Vertigo is their less mainstream, can be more adult stuff, where DC won't publish kind of certain things. Like, they're really not, like, DC's not usually going to publish, like, the F-bomb or something in theirs. Vertigo can publish more of, like, adult comics. The comic we read during the Fabled issue is published by Vertigo.
Unless it's Punisher.
That's Marvel.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
My bad.
There's no judgment on those kinds of things here because we're all just enjoying comics We're not biased. We just read them for fun.
I'm going to get so much hate mail from our one listener.
They just send you a whole bunch.
How dare you,
They're
sir.
like, the first one, I can't believe you. Send. Punisher under DC and Vertigo. Send. You need to get your facts checked. Send. You, sir, are full of fake news. Send.
No,
What the heck is a butt shovel? Send.
So,
Kind of explained. No, we didn't.
no, and
No.
we'll never explain
fine.
it. Because,
Anyway,
as you said, yep.
He said that before, along
have
with the
said
words
yep.
the, of, and I don't believe you.
I don't believe you.
You should.
This has gone on long enough.
So I'm Patrick.
Wait. Next issue 6 of Guys with Issues, will be Nightfall Part 2. We'll see how Azrael carries the mantle and if he gets a chance to throw down with the main man Bane.
And I'm sure we'll have it on all of our socials, right?
It'll
All
be
the
on
issues
all
we're
of
usually- we're
our
reading?
previously released areas, and our socials will give you links and doodly dads, diddly doos.
Big Bad Bane.
We might as well not start saying it now. We didn't in any of the other ones.
Yeah.
It's true. All right. Well, I'm Patrick.
This is Will.
And I'm Chris, and we are Guys with Issues.
You can catch the new issue of Guys with Issues each week on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts.
Or check out our website at guyswithissues.com, where you can listen, find reading lists to follow along, and get to know us better.
You can also find us on Instagram at guys_with_issues and on Facebook at Guys with Issues.
Send us emails to longbox at guyswithissues.com and tell us your thoughts. Send us suggestions on what we should read next. We would love to hear from our listeners.
Scroll up for like 10 minutes. When you get to You Have My Sword, it's going to be real close.
And my axe.
And my bow.
And my butt shovel.